Hello, hello, hello! Welcome, Stitchers! Alright, guys, hi there, and welcome. I am recording live. This is Genetics Creations. My name is Jen. This channel is completely dedicated to all of my creations and teaching you all how to do them. So, if you are new here, I will definitely get you all the fun stuff, but before I do that, today we're going to be working on a scarf, and I want to get you guys grabbing everything that you need to start working on that scarf as we start stitching, so we can minimize that downtime, because this is going to be a little bit different. I normally have pieces of my projects prepped and ready to go in front of you. Today that's not really the case. We're going to be doing a lot of this in live time, so there is going to be some downtime as we get going. When that happens, guys, this is your chance to ask questions. Anything, crochet hooks, yarn needles, yarn, anything is game. I am here to answer your questions and teach you all everything you want to know about crochet, stitching, and anything else kind of yarn. I welcome all yarn nerds, if you will. So, today, what are we going to need? It's kind of a stash busting project. While I've also bought yarn specifically for this project, it is great for stash busting. So this is an infinity scarf. I know I don't have it like zoomed out so you can fully see, but hopefully you can get the gist of it here. I've made it, and this is one where I actually bought yarn to make it for the exact, this pattern, like with predicted, whoops, there's the seam, so at least you guys know what the seam looks like. It's pretty, it blends in really, really well. But that is the one, I actually bought the yarn specifically for this project, so you can do that. Green would be the base color, so whatever base color you have, you want to have the most of. And then my white and gray I just did throughout. This was for a team spirit project because these are my my son's high school colors, so it worked out really perfect to do that. But I've also used it as a scrap yarn project. Now today we're going to be doing a cowl, just so that way you guys don't have to watch me stitch 200 every row, because I don't think that would make for a very good interactive live. But we're going to do a cowl version, and then you guys can always take this technique and apply it to a full infinity scarf, which usually, for me, most infinity scarves are about 200 stitches around, and most cowls, depending on how thick the yarn is that you grab, are going to be anywhere from like 80 to 100 stitches. If you're doing really thin yarn, you might do 150 stitches in the round, but anyway, back to this being a great stash buster. Again, I just used white as my base color throughout, and these were just random yarns that I had that kind of went well together. And I don't know, I mean, originally my husband was like, those colors are terrible, but I kind of like the fun Eastery, springy feel that I was going for, and I really didn't know what to do with this color, so it blended really well by matching it with something a little less intense. So I always challenge you guys, see if you can find different ways to put colors together. But again, I buy a lot of my yarn from estate sales and yard sales, and a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, $2 a skein, $3 a skein, or whatever, but I'm usually the weird one that walks up and says, okay, but how much for it all? And I'll take it all off your hands and make it easier for everybody. But with that comes a lot of yarn that I don't normally use. I'm usually pulling from those stashes, like your DK weights and your designer yarns and stuff like that, and using those for my main projects. And then these are kind of like the fun ones that I use for prototypes and just different projects that I'll find. So I have, as you can see, I think they kind of go together. We're going to be mixing all of these colors together. So when I say that this is a stash buster, it really is. But at minimum for this class, you are going to want at least 2 colors. So while we are getting into all of the intro stuff, what should you be grabbing? 1, your water. We're going to be healthy here. We're going to drink our water. I've got the chat up, so bring your questions, anything you guys have. I see a few of you in there, so hi, welcome. I've got the chat active, so please, any questions that you guys have along the way, that is what it's there for. I really want to make sure that I am helping you guys learn this art of crochet, because it does not have to be scary. While a lot of people think it is, it doesn't have to be. When you are planning out your yarn, we're going to start with the base color, and for me, I'm going to go with whatever I have the most of. So if you're doing what I'm doing and kind of going gutsy and throwing everything into the mix and mixing it, I have a spot in the freezer for a garage sale yarn. Oh man, Lorraine, hi. By the way, I looked up wool needles because you suggested those last class, and I totally have to try those. I didn't know they had some with the little bent tip on it, and I feel like that would be really good for grabbing certain threads. So I thank you for that suggestion. I am so going to get some of those, and I can't wait to try them out. But anyway, so we're going to be just kind of mixing all of this. Now, if you are mixing other colors, the only tips I have for you, try to make sure you're matching weight. Now, obviously, I have different brands. I don't even know what brand that is. I don't know what brand that is. And honestly, it's a little thick. I may not end up using it because it feels a little too thick compared to some of these. But you want to try to make sure that they're similar. And I will say, if you know something is wool, throw it out. Get it out right now. Keep it for your own wool project, but you don't want to mix wool with acrylic or wool with cotton, because when you wash it, you're going to hate your life. You're going to see your whole project just fall apart because they stretch and they shrink differently than the other fibers. So grab something similar in material and similar in your thickness. So all of this is pretty much four-waisted yarn. Some of this is so old, like don't even like judge me, but look, I don't even know where you find labels like this. But like I said, I got these at yard sales, and we're going to throw them all together and kind of see how it goes. But at very minimum, you guys are going to want at least 2 contrasting colors. So grab that, grab a decent amount. The hook I'm going to be using, again, if you guys are new here, I have all of these links in the description. So if you are completely new to crochet and you don't know where to start, grab whatever you can get your hands on. For starters, you can get hooks at yard sales, and a lot of people are just getting rid of their stuff that they're like, I don't have the patience to keep doing this, and you can find it dirt cheap. Great way to get started. I'm a Susan Bates girl. I cannot stand these other hooks. They just aren't for me. I'm not saying that they're bad, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that swear by them, but this tapered style, I tend to drop yarn all the time because I don't feel like it sits in this groove the way it does with the Susan Bates ones. So I have the link for this package. I think it's only like $8 last time I checked or so on Amazon, but I totally recommend it. I'm going to be using J, so if you guys are starting to grab all of your stuff, I think J's pretty, I don't know, it feels pretty good for the four-waisted. I'm just pulling it out of my fanny right now. I don't really have a rhyme or reason. It just tends to be my go-to hook. So, and I know that hooks don't always have the letters, so it's a USJ 10, 6 millimeters. I'm not even going to make you guys try to read that, but 6 millimeters is what we're going with. God bless these autofocus cameras that don't always work. Anywho, and like I said, the only reason mine might look a little different than yours is because it is a Susan Bates style hook, and you can see the indentation where the yarn hooks is just a little bit different. This one, I'm sorry guys, we are going to do a little bit of stitch counting, but I promise it's just going to be in the beginning, and then after that we don't have to. If you guys know me, I'm a lazy crocheter, and I hate counting. So I have myself, this is what I use for stitch markers. You guys might have those little ones. I think the link that I have in the description is for the most common ones, which are the little safety pin plastic looking ones, but you're only going to need like one. I mean, I have two just in case, but you're only going to need one. Yarn needle for the end. We are switching colors, so unfortunately there will be some weaving in of ends, but I am going to try a new technique that I've never tried before on this pattern. So this could be good, bad, or ugly in live format, but to minimize some of the color changing so we don't have to weave in as much. And as you guys know, I prefer the metal ones. I just think that they're easier to use as opposed to the plastic ones, but if you have the plastic ones, they work very well. We're not going to be doing any buttons or anything like that, so you should not be limited if you have only the plastic versions. They will work just fine for today. Nails of the week, guys. Okay, I'm going to take a quick minute. You guys know I'm obsessed with Color Street. This is how I keep my hands camera ready. But this one, I never do floral stuff, and this one I absolutely love. I wanted to do something a little fun, especially with the weather getting better. So this one's Floral Tiara. The info is also in there. It's dry nail polish. They look like stickers. They go on super quick. There's no tools. I literally did these a little bit before class. I think I even posted about it. You file off the excess, and then I was ready to start prepping for class, which was digging through all my yarn stashes and whatnot. Not something you could do if you're waiting for your nail polish to dry. So if you guys are busy like me, you're going to want to make sure you check out something like Color Street Nails. They are truly a saving thing in my life. Okay. Let's also talk about the quick beginner tool. If you guys haven't already gotten it, this is a free tool that I give you all in the description. You can download it. It's a PDF. It has my virtual business card right here, so it'll get you in touch with all things directly with me, whether it's emailing me, checking out my Etsy shop, my YouTube channel, the other social media platforms that I'm on, and all the nine. That is all in that QR code. But that was really weird. Sorry, but crochet language. If you're new, it can start sounding like we're speaking a totally different language, and it's okay. The more you speak it, the more you hear it, the more you're exposed to it, the more it's going to start sounding natural. It's just like learning another language, but this will help. So print it off, keep it next to you, especially if you're working patterns. You're going to want to reference these because a lot of the patterns out there use this shorthand, and you're not going to know what they're talking about if you don't have it available. So print this off, take it with you, guys. Crochet diagrams. I'm a huge advocate for crochet diagrams because usually your entire project ends up on one sheet of paper. And that is a blessing when you are sitting there doing multiple rows and things like that. You don't want to have to be worrying about like what word, what line, what row you're on. It gets overwhelming fast. Plus, there's a lot of free patterns out there that you can find with diagrams because not many people know how to, I don't know if they don't know how to write them or create them or so, I don't know. I just tend to find a lot of more free options when it comes to crochet diagrams. So this will help you start learning how to read them. We do a lot of, I've taught a lot of classes on how to read them. I plan on teaching more, so that is not going to be going away. We will definitely be working with more diagrams in the very near future. Okay, but I digress. Hopefully you guys have gotten your yarn. You have your hook. We're going to take one more sip of water, and we're going to start with our base color. Again, if you have what I have, which is a plethora of colors, I'm going to go with what I have the most of, and that's one of these two. But I think I'm going to go ahead and make this one my base color, and then we're going to jump around to a ton of other colors as we go. We are going to, if you guys have never birthed yarn, is what I call it, I go from the center. I got fortunate. This one has the center already ready for me, but yeah, if not, you're going to have to go fishing and pull some out to get ready to do this, and hopefully, I'm even hoping that we don't have any issues because someone could have just stuffed it back in there, but it looks like we're good. So, yay us. We are going to be doing foundation double crochets to start the base row, but once you get 3 or 4 rows under your belt, you're going to be able to wash, rinse, repeat, and everything's going to go very quickly because it is kind of a nice, it's kind of a nice semi-mindless project. So if you're like me and you're always crocheting and you have a little bit of crochet fatigue, this might be a really good one for you as well. Not only are we going to get rid of a lot of your yarn stash, but you're going to be able to just check out and do what the therapy side of crochet, which is wash, rinse, and repeat. We're going to start with a slip knot. So guys, a slip knot, you're just twisting the yarn. Some people hold it this way and then they'll twist it, but I just always wrapped it around my fingers. So a slip knot, I create the X. It's no different than like a magic ring. I start them all the same. You're going to pull that through and you're going to pull that tight. And then you just pull this until... And I feel like I talk a lot about a slip knot. I know a lot of people struggle with it, but I have a lot of stuff on my channel and they all start with this, so feel free to look. I've been doing different ways to do it and everything, so hopefully by now we're getting the hang of a slip knot. If you're new here and you don't know, I hope I went slow enough for you, but just ask me. I can grab some scrap yarn over here and show you real quick some other ways if you need help. But we're going to chain 2. This is so we can start our foundation double crochet. This is how I do it. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of made some of it up after seeing some stuff online, so if you're supposed to chain 3, I'm sorry, go ahead and do that, but I chain 2, and then we're gonna work the double crochet along with our chain into that little bump right there. It's technically the back side of the chain because the chain on the front would be the braid. I grab the bump, so we're gonna yarn over and we're gonna grab that bump. And it's probably going to be a little bit tight if you pulled that that slip knot tight too much, so just feel free to like snug it out and you'll be able to loosen it up and get your hook where you need it to be. But we're going to not just work a double crochet, but we're going to be chaining as well. So when you pull up, normally a double crochet you would start pulling through 2 until you have only 1 left, but we've got to add our chain in right here. I'm looking at the screen and my hands at the same time and it gets a little bit hard. Okay, so there we go, and I'm probably going to zoom in a little bit in a second here. That way you guys can see this just a little bit better, but at least I picked a good, not dark color because that never comes through on the camera. Okay, so we chained one. Now we're going to finish the double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to keep doing this until we have the size of a cowl. So when I say we are going to have some dead time, this is where it's at. So yarn over, and we're going to insert it back into that bottom chain. So I did pull up those 2 loops right there. Hopefully you can see that. Pull up, and then we're going to chain. Don't split the yarn like I just did. And then again, pull up 2, finish that double crochet, pull up 2. Now, I normally have a finished version of this to show you the next step, but I decided not to do that today because I wanted you guys to kind of, 1, see it in real time, but 2, also maybe even be able to do it with me in real time and get to the next step so we can do it all together versus you guys having to do a mini version and then having to like come back or rewatch the video or back it up or anything like that. So hopefully this will also help you guys have a chance to ask more questions if you have it. But we're going to go until this wraps around the neck. Again, I'm aiming for 80, and you'll notice I'm not counting right now. So if you guys are going, just feel free, go into autopilot and start stitching. I am not counting right now. I get too many distractions when I am crocheting. I am often at basketball games doing this. I am at the house playing fetch with the dog while I'm doing this. Yes, because I have an Australian Shepherd, and she does not realize that she does not always have to be chasing a ball. But and like even now, I'm talking to you guys, there is no way I'd be able to count and talk. So I will show you my cheats for how I kind of obtain the counting concept when you are in an environment that has a lot of distractions. Now, if you are aiming for the infinity, my magical number is to aim for 200 stitches. I will tell you this pattern, we are going to do a small amount of math. I promise it'll be easy, but you want the base to be multiples of 3, so multiples of 3 stitches plus 2. And that might sound like crazy math at the moment because I don't remember when the last math class I've taken was, but I promise it'll all make sense once we get there. But first, we need to get something big enough to kind of go around our necks. And this is a great time while I am stitching this. I know you guys are probably all stitching too, but if you guys, hopefully you guys are seeing that. If you guys have any questions about yarn, about hooks, or anything like that while we are getting through this initial section, feel free to throw it in the chat. I am still keeping my eye up there. But this is the foundation double crochet. Now, you can, if you hate this stitch for whatever reason and you're like, I don't like the way this is going, you can also chain the amount you would need to go around your neck. You can chain that, and then you can turn and start doing double crochets back. Chains, whenever you do a row of chain and then a row of stitches, they do shrink up though. So if you do that, make sure you allow maybe about like a little bit of 10% extra in space, depending on how tight your chain is. You want to make it about 10% longer, so when you go back through and put double crochets into that chain, it doesn't shrink up too much for you. Otherwise, you're just going to end up having to frog it, start all over, and let's face it, that is not unless you're recording a video, that is not what you want to be doing. It is like every crocheter's worst nightmare is when they realize they have to undo any amount of stitches. But it is a reality of what it is to be a crocheter or a stitcher or whatever we call ourselves. So we're probably about halfway. If you'll notice, I put off counting until the very last second. Now, if you are someone who is counting, here is what I would be doing along the way. And let's say someone told you you need to start with 200 stitches. I'm going to start counting just so you can see what I do in real life. So that way you guys can hopefully start working with the distractions that we all have at home or wherever it is that you guys are stitching. So 1, 2, I'm literally just counting the stitches. I am aiming, if you want to learn where to count, these are your stitches right there. And the stitch count is right here. So at the very top of the stitch and slightly to the right. That is where, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I like to do is count in bulk amounts. So I don't care what number I get when all is said and done right now because I'm aiming for how long the item is first. But if I want to maybe just throw 25 just so I can see where we're at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Because I know I'm realistically going to need like 80 stitches. Now, I'm not double that, so I'm not even going to bother counting, but I'm going to leave that there. And I like these long ones because they just kind of hang like that. But if you have those little tiny ones, you might want to clip it shut just so it doesn't like come out. But I'm clearly going to keep going. But this is how I would do this if I were in public and I knew I was going to get some level of interruptions. This is the reality of how you can kind of like, whoop, and I totally missed the center frame there, sorry. But this is the reality of how you can kind of keep going on these larger projects without having to worry about being interrupted or losing count or having to go back. Usually I count like 10 stitches at a time because I usually can do that without interruption. And then I will just move this as I do 10. If that was my 10th stitch, I would move it here and then keep crocheting. And then that's another way if you know you're aiming for a certain count. But we are nowhere near it yet, so I'm going to keep going. And again, guys, if there are any questions, let me know. I might have to start playing like music in the background. Although I think my playlist would probably scare people. When you put my stuff on random, it is, or on shuffle, if you guys are anything like me, it'll go anywhere from like country to rock to God knows what on a dime. It can be a very scary place. But how's everyone doing? Are they getting this stitch all right so far? This is a pretty easy pattern. I think I found it as originally a scarf, but I'm going to be showing you how to join it and bring it together so that you guys can not have to, you guys won't have to like whip stitch or anything like that in the end, which can be kind of nice. It creates a different seam. Let's get some more yarn going here. And let's see, how are we doing on, not yet, but I think we are also beyond another 25, so I'm going to go ahead and count another 25 just so I know where the 50 mark is, because we're probably aiming for somewhere around 80 stitches. I only know that because I've done this so many times, that's usually where I end up. So we've done that 25, I'm just going to count another 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Perfect. So right there, that'll be 50 stitches. I know I need 30 more. Told you, this is like the way you can count and kind of cheat. Because you're still doing what you should be, but I'm not sitting there going 1, 2, and then God forbid you drop a stitch, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, was that 23 or 24? Has anyone done that? Go ahead and let me know and tell me, like, if you guys haven't done that yet, you need to crochet more, because I'm telling you, I do that, like, every day. I'm like, did I just do number 10 or number 9? Dang it, I can't remember. And I just go back and start counting, which is why I started doing this, because I know that's 50. And at least I omit having to count all of that again. So, oops. As you guys see, I totally forgot to work that chain. So, yarn over, you're inserting it, and going back, chain 1, and then finish that double crochet. Da 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 da. So, yeah, and I don't know how some people will just like stitch so fast, and I don't know, I consider myself not a slow stitcher, and people will be like, oh, I finished this project in a half hour, and I'm like, okay, sure, because you guys are seeing it real time, and I have over 20 years of experience when it comes to crocheting, so I am definitely not new to this. Now, let's see here. Let's see, are we getting close to 80? Oh, I guess I should show you guys what I'm counting so you guys can see it too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So that's 70. I'm going to move this. I know I need 10 more for 80, but I did say we need multiples of 3 plus 2. So I don't even know. I'm going to pull up my calculator. Whoa! Alright, let's see here. If we did 80 minus 2, I already know this is not going to be divisible by 3. So, oh, it will be, 26. Okay, so perfect. So 80 will be good because when I subtract 2, it's 78, and when you divide it by 3, it is an even number. So if you are doing more than that, this is how you would take whatever stitches you actually have, subtract the 2, divide by 3. If this is not the right number, then you're going to add stitches or subtract stitches, probably in the amount of 1 or 2, to get to a level where it evenly divides by 3. So take the total stitches, subtract 2, divide it by 3. That is how you have multiples of 3 plus 2. Hope that made sense. If you guys have questions, I usually talk too much to keep count in my head. Amen, sister. Amen. I am the same. And I talk to everybody that I'll be like in the DMV, and I'll even be talking to whoever's sitting next to me. So yeah, I can't count traditionally. I have to do this cheat because I will just never figure it out. So we only needed 10 more stitches to get to our 80. And then we're going to join it together. So let's see, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And guess what, guys? There's no more counting. Well, micro counting, but there's no more like counting. So we can get rid of the stitch marker now. Okay, so this is a cowl, and we are working in the round, which means that you are working in a circular fashion. And I'm just going to pull it over real quick. And yeah, so hopefully you guys see it's kind of a little bit loose, and it's going to be thick. So make sure you don't want it to be too tight, or unless you're some people like things to be super tight around their neck. I know of several people that are like, oh, I love the snuggy feeling. Other people like things looser. So if you need to add stitches or omit them to account for that, now is your time to do so. But we have to join this. And I have not seen many people join foundation stitches, so I kind of made this way up. And I'll walk you through what works for me. But I haven't seen like an official way that you're supposed to, quote unquote. But what we're going to do is make sure there are no twists. So if you have anything like that, you want to fix that right out the gate. Make sure that we are straight going across and we are matched up with our other end. You would normally slip stitch into the starting chain to do this, but for this part, we're going to actually go backwards. So coming from the center to the outside, I'm going to insert my hook here. And this is actually kind of Tunisian crochet. If you want to get like technical, this is where I kind of stole this technique from. But we're going to pull through, yarn over and pull through those loops and this one to join it. Then I'm going to grab the bottom of this one, and I'm going to go here and join these two together. So I'm going to go into the bottom. I'm going to pull, you can find it because it's going to be attached to the yarn, and I'm just going to grab that one right there. And then I'm going to do another pull through. I'm not going to pull through this loop though, so I'm going to pull through those 4. I should have 2 loops on the hook. Move that out of the way so you can kind of see. And then this is a Tunisian where you, if you've ever tried Tunisian crochet, first off, totally recommend it. I love Tunisian crochet. But you're going to cast on a ton of loops and then you're going to pull them off. This is kind of the same concept, but we're just going to pull up 1 and then pull up 2. Now I'm going to put this section towards the back. It won't really matter because we're honestly going to be flipping it back and forth. There goes my little stitch pointer thingy. We're going to be flipping it back and forth every row we do, but for now, that is where you're at. Okay, you are not going to change colors yet. So what we are working on now, we've done this base row. Hold on, this is upside down. We've done this base row, and now there's going to be this row that goes in between, and you'll notice it's in between every one of my colored stripes. So that's why I say this is your base color, and it is going to be carried throughout. So to do that row, we are going to begin as such. So you've already kind of joined it. You should have something that looks like that. You can go ahead and pull this tight now if you haven't already. And you're going to chain one. This is your turning chain. Nothing too crazy there. We are going to single crochet into that first stitch. So yarn over, pull up one, yarn over, pull up two. Now you're going to chain three. I'm going to move this out of the way so you guys can see with the bright background there. So now we're going to be chaining three. 1, 2, 3. And you're going to skip 3, but we're not going to stitch on top like we have been, like we did over here. We stitched right on top of the braid, but instead we're going to be stitching in between the stitches. So you want to make sure, and I'm going to show you with the pointer so it's easier to see before I get my hands in the way and actually demonstrate it. This is the one that we're on top of, and now we're going to pull 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to be going right into that space right there. But you'll notice I'm actually going under some of what I would normally not. So you're going to go right in between the two stitches, and we're going to work a single crochet right into that. So single crochet and then chain 3. And we're going to be doing this all the way around. So again, woo, my watch caught that. We already went in there. 1, 2, 3. And that's what's going to start. That's what's going to start dividing these into little clusters of 3 stitches, similar to like what you see on a granny square. Now, granny squares, you're normally chaining 1 in between, but this is a granny square inspired. It's not technically a granny square pattern. So we'll go back to this 1, 2, and 3, and I'm going to go in between the 2 double crochets right there, and we're going to single crochet. Chain 3. And keep going. Find that spot in between 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to do this all the way around. 1, 2, and 3. What color do you guys think I should do for the second one? Should I do this green, or should I throw in... I don't want to throw in gray too soon. I feel like I need to keep throwing in a color. Maybe that one? I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. This is going to be the classes project when all is said and done, because you guys are going to pick my next color. You can say the one on the left or the one on the right. I guess one's more blue and one's more green. I'm going to get rocking and rolling, but you guys let me know which one you guys think would look good next. And then keep going. So you want to have every third stitch, whoop, don't split the yarn, 1, 2, 3, in between the third and fourth stitch away. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Hopefully you guys are getting that. I like the green. Alright, you were the first one, so we're going with green. I don't even know. Oh, shoot. Please don't tangle on me, green. I need to use you. I think we're good. I think we're good-ish. Oh, no, we may not be. We're going to rip off the label and see if I can find another spot in a second. This is what happens when you buy discount yarn sometimes. What? Oh, I found one end. That'll work for now. Nope. That was a fake end. They just tied it. I'll grab it in a second. Alright, 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3. What other colors are you guys working with out there? This can also be a really good pattern for a blanket. And if you have lots of scrap yarn, the only difference is you would omit all of this joining at the seam. But the way that I start each row and the way that I end each row would remain the same, because we're going to end on a single crochet or a double crochet right on top of the stitch. So you could easily just omit the slip stitch aspect and make this into a blanket, which again, really good for scrap busting. And you can make every row a different color, which I've seen some people really blending colors like that very well, and it just looks so fun. So fun. Maybe the blue. Yeah, we might be switching to blue. We'll have to see. I'm going to see one more time if I can find a good easy end. Otherwise, I will save you guys the misery and go with blue. Now this color, when we get to the end, we're not going to cut it. This is our base color. It's the one that this is that new technique that I'm going to try. Usually I would cut it and just join the next color. But in this case, I don't want to. I want to see if I can save myself one potential weaving of ends, something like that. Okay, you should have 4 stitches left. Now, just like before, we would normally go in between, but because this is the last one, and same if this were a blanket, this is your last stitch, we're going to go on top of that 4th stitch. It just creates a stronger seam, and it gives the yarn a little bit more definition. So if you are working a blanket, that's what will create the nice clean edges. Or if you're creating an open scarf and maybe you're not doing the infinity style, this is how you can create those clean edges and not have to worry about some craziness. So boom, we did a single crochet right there. If you are working in the round though, you are going to have to slip stitch it to the beginning, or you will find, and if you notice that, I'm slip stitching to the top of that single crochet. Now, notice I'm not going to pull through yet, because when you switch colors, you actually want to pull through with the other color that you're going to be using. So let me see if I can give this green one more shot, if I can get this small little knot out of the way. Otherwise, we're going to be switching to blue. Stand by, stand by. We've got action going on here. Okay, let's see how that goes. That should work. At least enough to get us what we need for the row, which is all that matters. Okay, let me pull out enough yarn here. And we're going to be going back to double crochets. Oh man, this yarn's gonna be the death of me later. I'll tell you that. But that's okay, I just need enough to get through this row. That's the magic of stash busting. Okay, where is the end? So you have not pulled through that last stitch. I only get to watch today. I spent too much time making. Oh, but I promise to make this up soon. No worries, no worries. We all have life, trust me. I am one of the lucky ones that gets to crochet and do it for a living, so I get it. You guys probably have crazy jobs and all these obligations, and the only thing I have to do later is pick up my son. Thank God. But I'd love to have you, and definitely, even after the fact, ask me any questions. I will totally respond to them firsthand. So, if you should not have pulled through that last stitch, because we're going to pull through with color 2. I leave a decent amount because you are going to want to work in the ends. I'm going to pull the dead end or the cut end through so I don't accidentally grab it. See how that happens? So I don't accidentally grab it and start working with that. And we're going to finish that slip stitch with color, if it was a pattern, it would say color B. And then just to prep, I'm going to chain 1 and we're going to turn. But before we turn, I know you're not supposed to do this. A lot of crocheters out there would probably be screaming at me right now. But I have some weird fear that if I don't tie this, I'm going to have issues. So I may tie this. I'm just letting you all know that. Give me a second though. That goes there. Oh, nope, I won't, because I'm actually going to be working that yarn through as we go. Just kidding. Undo that. Okay, so we're right here. We pulled it through the slip stitch, right? We need to chain 1, but I wanted to work this and not cut it because it's my base color. So if this is too much, go ahead and cut it, fasten off, and you can switch colors. It's not a problem. I'm just trying to skip a step later because, again, I told you guys from the beginning, I'm addicted to efficiency, and if I can cut anything out later, I will. So I'm going to work this up before I chain 1 just to keep hiding it because I want it for the next row after we finish this one. So we're going to chain 1, turn, and I've worked it up, and we're going to flip this inside out because we're turning our work, and we're going to be working. So now that puts that color towards the back. Did I go too fast? Hopefully I didn't lose you guys, but now we are working with that second color. This, we're going to end up tying it and fastening it in or weaving it in, so just make sure you have long enough, but you might want to snug it a little bit, pull it a little bit snug just to make sure you're not super loosey-goosey. That is a term. Same with the blue, because you may have pulled tension and that will loosen that up. But now we're going to go back and do this row, and I keep showing you guys this upside down. This row where we are now bringing in that color and doing the 3 double crochet clusters. But we are almost done to a point where you're going to be in the wash, rinse, repeat mode, so bear with me. Okay, so we've chained 1, and we probably should chain 2 because this is a row of double crochets and you need enough space. So go ahead and do a second chain, and we're going to do a double crochet on that single crochet. And this is just to get started. Everything else is going to be in these loops right here. So go ahead and double crochet. So you should be yarning over, inserting the hook, pulling up 1, then 2, and then 2. Now we're going to work 3 double crochets into each of these chain 3 spaces. That's how it would be read if it was a pattern. Work 3 double crochets into each chain 3 space. So yarn over 1, yarn over 2, yarn over 3. And I did tell you that is the micro counting that you will be doing. We're all just counting till 3 from here on out. That is the end all be all. So the great news is I told you there'd be counting, but it ends very quickly. So now we're going into the next chain 3 space, and we're going to do 3. 1, 2, and 3. And keep going all the way around, and then I'll show you, we're going to be, once we get to the end, we'll be pulling up that base color again, and then switching to another color. Is everyone getting that? Did I go slow enough for everybody? Hopefully that's making sense. Now, this yarn over here, I'll just let you know, this is crissing and crossing on me a little bit. I don't know if that's a technical term. That's okay. Don't freak out about that, because once I cut this yarn, it's going to, and switch colors again, it's going to all not even matter. So don't worry too much about it. I know sometimes when you start seeing yarn interact with itself on the side of you, it gets a little nerve-wracking, because if you guys saw what was going on to my left right now, you'd probably be wondering how the heck I'm going to end up using all this, because it is tangled already. But it is definitely not a problem right now. As you can see, it's pulling that up. All you do is just slide it back. And you'll keep going, because it's all going to disconnect once we finish this row. This one's going to be super fun and spunky. I don't know. I have been really into trying to blend colors that maybe you wouldn't normally think would go together, just to see what it looks like. I don't know if it's the artist in me or what, but this could be good, bad, or ugly. Who knows? Who knows? But hopefully you guys are all getting through it. At least the good news is this is bright enough for it to come through on the cameras. I know, even my mom was in one of my classes, and she's like, when you switch to that brown color, it was too hard to see. I don't know why I made her sound super old right there. Sorry, she's actually not, and if she's here, hi Mom. But ever since then, every time I grab yarn, I am in my head going, I gotta grab something bright, I gotta grab something bright. So I may have gone a little bit overkill today, but hey, it's not neon. Not that I'm against neon. I actually love a lot of the neon yarns. But I know sometimes that can come through the camera even harsher. So then you've got like a whole different set of problems. These are the things you guys have to worry about when you're crocheting on camera versus just crocheting for yourself. Never thought of things like this that I would have to figure out. Okay, we're getting close to the end, and then I'll show you guys how we're going to pick up that base color again. And then, of course, we are getting to a point where we are almost in wash, rinse, repeat mode. But any questions out there, feel free to ask. I hope this was a simple one. I know I have some other classes that have been a lot more difficult, and it usually requires a lot more, like, can you demonstrate that again? But, I mean, if there's anything that I went over too fast, I am more than happy to demonstrate any aspect again. Let me see if I can salvage some more green yarn out of this cluster I have going over here. Because I'm almost done, but I need a little bit more, and it's getting knotted to a point where I don't know if it's going to work. Hold on. We got it. Come on. That'll be fun to untangle after class. If you guys want to know what I'll be doing, it's going to be untangling yarn. Alright. And we are almost there. Now you guys know why I usually prep items so I can just rush to the end and show you all, but then I tend to skip this part and somebody might need to see something, so hopefully listening to me talk to myself is not the worst thing. Someone blowing my phone up. Okay. Got a few more. But don't forget, when we get to that last one, we are going to want an extra stitch on top to clean our quote-unquote edges. I know it's not really an edge because we are actually slip stitching when all is said and done, but if you are doing this as a blanket, you would factor that in. You want to make sure that you're going on top of the stitch on that final one and not just into the chain 3 space. So we're doing the last chain 3 space now, and don't forget, we're going to be stitching on top, we're going to be bringing our base color through, and we're going to be switching before the last yarn pull through. So we're going to do multiple things, but we're going to go slow. We're going to go slow, and I'm going to walk you through it so we can do this together, okay? So yarn over, we're inserting into that last, don't worry, this will be woven in, but that last single crochet, you're going to pull up. I'm going to probably go ahead and just to weave it in, I'm going to move this yarn over. So when I pull up, see how it's kind of going to trap that yarn in the stitch? Because I'm going to pull up one more set of 2. So you should have 2. And then I'm going to pull this back through again, just to keep it in the stitch and hiding. And pull through. Oop, I don't want to pull through 2. Just kidding. Nope, because we're going to slip stitch. Oh man, I'm in my head. So yes, pull through 2. Now we've got a slip stitch to the beginning. So pull that to the back. The blue, the base color, pull that to the back. The initial part of the slip stitch is going to be done with that. You're going to go into that first double crochet. So okay, get you out of the way so I can show everyone without it being difficult. Go into that double crochet. We would slip stitch, but that's where you're going to switch yarn. So pull that down into the back and bring up your base color, and we're going to slip stitch with that new color. That's how you can seamlessly, it's the most seamless way to switch colors. This is going to end up being your right side just because it's a little bit cleaner than this side. But let's go ahead and cut. This would be color B. I'm going to leave a decent tail because I don't want it falling out on me, and we will weave this in after the fact, and I will show you guys how to do that as well in case you've never done it. There's a few tricks that I've been seeing that work really well. So, whew, we made it through that yarn even though it got tangled. That's awesome. Okay, So we have now started working with our base color. If you want to just get that out of the way, you can. And we're going to be going back to the row. This is where I would say repeat row 2. But we're going to be going back to that row. So we're going to be chaining 1 because it's obviously going to start with a single crochet. We don't need as much space, and you're turning. When you're turning, you're going to naturally flip that piece out. So, all right, let's do the repeat row 2. If this was a pattern, that's how you would read it. I hope you guys do start feeling confident to start trying patterns. I hope me teaching you kind of how it's said and written, that it helps, because patterns do not have to be scary. We're going to single crochet into that first one and chain 3. And now you see the natural clusters already beginning. So you're just going to, again, I said repeat row 2. You're going to go in between 1, 2, 3, the third and fourth. You're going to go in between, and you're going to single crochet. And then chain 3. And that is literally all you're going to do. Now you guys technically have enough knowledge at this point to finish this on your own, but I'm not going to leave you stranded because I want to show you guys how to weave in the ends and also what row to end on. So we'll crochet a little bit more together. I like the 2-row repeat patterns. They feel pretty automatic. Yeah, I like to call those the brain dead projects when I don't have a whole lot of thinking I need to do. Because like I said, lately my son's been in track. So I'm like literally in the bleachers waiting for his events to start. And I'm talking to the moms, and it's mindless enough where I don't need to pay attention and I can talk. Which also, teaching class, that makes it a lot easier, is when I don't need to really pay attention. So I agree. These are great ones for when you just want to check out, maybe binge watch something. I don't know, what should I need to look for some more binge-worthy shows. I've been rewatching Sons of Anarchy, and I realize that that is like super old school, but when it came out, I loved that show. It's a little rough, but I did enjoy it. So I've been binge watching that. I think I might watch Yellowstone again next, because I've got a lot of crocheting I gotta do. And I need something on in the background. I don't know if you guys are anything like me, but I don't do well with silence. But awesome. I'll show you one more color change so at least you know how everything is going. We're going to pick a different color. Should we go with the blue now? We'll do the blue now. Well, maybe I should see if it'll easily come undone. Oh, yep, we have an end. We have an end! So blue it is. We're going to go with the light blue next so we can just see kind of how that goes. And then we'll weave in a few ends. And that should get you guys going to where you feel confident about your project. I'd love to see what colors you guys are all doing. 1, 2, 3. I feel like I wanted to do a variety of pinks too, but I only have like the baby pink, and I don't have like a whole lot of other pinks right now that will go good. Oh, and you can also do variegated yarn, in case you guys didn't notice that. Like these are solids, but this one is variegated, and so it's really nice to be able to bring that in a different way. And if it's an extreme variegation, it's nice when you pair it up with these because it can tone it down. Okay, so we've reached the end again. We're going to single crochet on top of that final single crochet. We do not have anything to weave in as we go, so we're good. So we pull that through. We're going to slip stitch, but you're not going to pull that through because we need our color C. So we'll pull that back, and color C is going to be this blue. And I'm going to pull out as much as I can right now. And, whoop, don't lose that. Okay. And again, leave a decent tail. Nothing too crazy. I probably have like maybe 7 to 8 inches going on here. And you're going to pull through. I'm pinning that with my finger. So I'm holding that new color back there. And I'm just going to pull through my slip stitch with the new color. And we're going to chain 2 and turn because we're going back to the row of double crochets. So, as such, you should be there. Oh, I made another boo-boo, didn't I? Because I did not bring my base color through. So give me a second. If you guys didn't catch what I did, we're going to do it together again. Okay, so our base color is here. We want to bring that through so it's ready for us on the top of the next row. So where are you? This is literally like all I'm doing is talking to myself in yarn. My husband thinks I'm crazy some days. It's okay. Okay, so the dead yarn, this dead yarn, the one that's cut, I want to get it out of the way so I don't accidentally work with it. And I'm going to put this forward while I chain one. And I've got to chain another, so I'm going to pull it backwards again, so it is now woven into that chain. Hopefully you guys kind of see that. And then we're going to work the first double crochet. Oh, nope, I got to turn now, right? Yep. Yep. All right, now turn. And that first double crochet is going right on top of that single crochet. And pull up two, pull up two. And then nothing different, guys. Now you're repeating row 1, 2, 3. Repeat row 3. And this is how you're going to keep going until you get this cowl, or if you're doing the infinity scarf, the depth, the width that you want. And just for reference, let me measure this so you can see. This is an infinity scarf, but how wide I tend to go. I had a ruler. I have my measuring tape here. So I usually go until I have like, I'll create some kind of like sequence to the color changes. Like even here, I made sure that there was a method to my madness. The one I'm doing now, I don't think there's going to be a method. I think I'm just going to keep going randomly until it's done. But I went like purple, variegated blue, variegated purple, variegated blue, variegated purple. So you might want to create patterns like that, but ultimately my goal is to get them to where they're about like, this one is 10 inches wide. And this is an infinity, so with a cowl, you might be able to get away with like 8 or something like that. You just want it to be comfortable, and try it on. That's another great way. If you think you would wear it, that is a great way to quote-unquote sell something, or make sure that it's something that you feel proud to give to someone else if these are gifts. So that is what I would recommend. So let me get a few more stitches just to get this out of the way, and I'll show you guys how I fasten off, but I want to make sure that we have our active stitches a little bit further down so I can like get it out of the way. And then what we will do is you'll keep going, and your last row is going to be this row of double crochet. So if I were ending right here, I would fasten off, and this would be my final row. You don't technically need to do a border. You could, if you wanted, you could do a row of single crochets on each side. I did not. I literally I started with the base row here, so you can see that matches, and then you'll end on the row of clustered crochets. So that'll be your last row right there. And then when you're done though, you are going to have all these ends. So let me go ahead and transition to how you would appropriately get all of this fun stuff woven in without losing your mind, because it can be annoying. I'm going to show you with the bright green one because it'll be the easiest to really show you what's going on. But grab a yarn needle. If you don't have one, you can technically use your hook. If you have a tinier hook, I would recommend that because it can be easier to get it in the stitches. Let's see what I got. Because what you could be doing is, I'll show you with the blue yarn first. You could be like just going in there, and I'm going to pull it this way. I want to look, and you can just pull it through until you, and I keep trying to go under stitches. If you'll notice, I'm trying to find the natural stitches, and you can keep pulling it through. When I was first starting crochet, this is how I would fasten off all of my ends. I never, I didn't know about yarn needles for the longest time. I was young, I don't know, I just didn't. And I've always been one to kind of work with whatever I've got. So if this is all you've got, props to you. Whoa, I just hit my camera. Props to you, it can all be done. However, for sanity, time saver, yarn needles. So let's go ahead and pick this green one. There's a technique that I saw someone do on TikTok, and they go back and forth 3 times with their stitches. So this might be one. Do you think this would work okay with a gradient yarn? A slow, is it gradient or gradient? I don't know, but I love gradient yarns, however you say it. I love color changing yarns. I think it would look good. The slow phasing ones, I don't know. I haven't tried. If you stuck with it, the whole pattern, I think it would look really good because, and then paired it with like a solid base, it would break it up, but still give it that, what's going on? Is it changing colors kind of look? And I think that would be really dope. So as you can see, I'm going to work with this cluster and we're going to go back and forth 3 times. That's the whole concept of this particular way of fastening off. So you see the natural yarn is already coming out right here. You want to kind of work with that, and we're going to kind of go across the cluster. And I'm just picking up any of the loops that I have. And now, like I said, we're going to go back and forth 3 times. You don't need to pull it tight. You're just pulling it so that it naturally has the same amount of give as the entire project. You don't want to go back in the same spot or you're going to undo everything you just did. So you are going to want to pick one other loop to kind of go around, and then you go back kind of where you came from. Maybe this wasn't the best loop. There we go. I'm going to go back in, and then I'm going to go back where you came from. So it'll be locked in because I picked a different loop there, but you want to kind of go back and forth 3 or so times. I'm not going to go here because that's where the yarn's coming from. I'm going to pick one other spot and then go back through some of these. And the zigzagging of it inside is what's going to lock your stitches or your yarn from coming out. And again, you're not going to pull it tight because otherwise you're going to see that start coming through. See how it kind of is creating some weird tension? So you want to just, and it's coming out of that spot, so I want to probably go in over here. But you just want to go back and forth a few times. I've technically already done 3 times, so we could cut it. But if you just want to be like super crazy and you're just like, no, I absolutely want to make sure it's good, you can do that as such. That will not go anywhere on you. And then you can go ahead and cut your yarn, and that will just all tuck in there nice and naturally and you won't see it. I will show you how I do this one as well. But you're going to want to do this. I recommend doing it as you go, but I will tell you, I don't even take my own advice. I think I'm really bad at that. And I can't tell you how many projects are underneath my desk because that's where I hide all of my whips. But all of my projects that are unfinished, a lot of them are unfinished because I don't want to go through this process of fastening in and weaving in your ends. I have not met a stitcher. Again, so it's coming out here. I'm going to try to go with the natural flow so it matches my other stitches. But I have yet to meet another stitcher that does not mind fastening in the ends. I've even heard of some people like soliciting family members to do it for them. I'm going to go in through there so it follows the natural stitches. And then we're going to, now that I'm at the cluster, we're going to work that back and forth concept. So we're going to go through all of those. I want to go back the other direction, but I don't want to go into the same stitch that I was just coming from. So I'm going to grab one extra one and we're going to go back. This time I'm working into a few different stitches just to keep locking things down. Don't pull too tight, so make sure you're constantly stretching and making sure that you're keeping that elasticity consistent, otherwise you're going to notice it. We came out of there, so I'm going to find a slightly different spot right here. And go through. Again, don't pull it too tight, kind of nice and relaxed. And I'm going to grab, we're going to go right back in there. And then we'll go through, and you can cut it. And that sucker will be nice and happy. I'm going to go through one more because I like to finish on the bottom of my clusters. And we're going to go ahead and do that. Don't pull it too tight. Go ahead and stretch things out. Give it a nice, there you go. And we'll cut that one. And hopefully that gives you guys a good way on how to finish this all up. How about that? So I recommend weaving in as you go, but you're probably going to do what I do and save it all for the end. And if that's the case, it's tedious, but it is what it is. And that's how you guys can work the color changing. Now, as you can see, one side will always be just a little bit cleaner than the other side. I would mark that as your wrong side. You don't have to mark it, but like when you sell it or when you present it to somebody, you will make this the one that's on the outside, and I always make sure that I'm presenting it towards the back, so you have your finished piece nice and towards the front, because ultimately this is the spot that you put on the back of your neck when you wear it. So guys, the rest of this is wash, rinse, repeat. We've already been doing some of that, but if you have any last minute questions, I'm definitely still here. Stitch for a little bit more. Don't forget all the things that we covered in the beginning. There is the link to Color Street Nails. So if you guys want to check out nail polish that is super cost effective and super good for the on-the-go lifestyle, check that out. We've also got the free crochet tool. 2 weaves and it's already looking finished. Oh, you are too kind. But yes, weaving in ends, that is when you really start to go, oh my god, it doesn't look like a project anymore, but it looks like a finished piece. So I will say, if you weave in ends as you go, you're probably going to appreciate your piece a lot more throughout the journey. If you wait till the end, you're going to be done stitching and you're going to be like so excited that you're done stitching, but then you're going to be looking at all those ends and you're going to want to cry. So I don't take my own advice. If you are like, I'm going to risk it for the biscuit, by all means, you guys know how it is, but I will tell you, weaving in the ends will help you along the way just feel better about the project. And you, when you're done, you like have 2 ends to weave in and you're like, you're done. So it can look really good. Guys, I do have next week's class already on the schedule, so if you guys are still with me, don't forget it will redirect you there at the end of class, but if not, you guys can always head to the live section and save it so it notifies you. I don't know what project we're doing yet. I have a few ideas, but even the ideas that I thought I was going to do today did not become the idea that I did. So that being said, if you guys have any requests, I'm still looking for, anything that you guys want. Couple other things, if you guys are really good at crochet patterns, I have a few testers testing out one that I am looking to release. And if you guys can see it, I know it's a little, but that shawl right there, this was my 2nd prototype. I'm in the middle of a 3rd prototype, but the pattern's done. The pattern's done and it is ready to be tested. So if you guys are confident with your pattern work, please send me an email. Again, the link is in the bio. It's also on my YouTube channel. I would love to get more pattern testers going, just because it helps me make sure that my patterns are really top notch before I sell them. But it also just helps you guys practice stuff and whatnot. Have you made the cat stitch? No, but I saw it and I saw a tutorial on it and it's super cute. We can definitely take a look at the cat stitch. It's not super difficult. We can, I'll look up some tutorials this week and maybe do like a little swatch and we can play around with that next week. That's a great one. It's really cute. I'm a dog person, so that's why I never worked on it before. I'm not going to lie. My dog is my addiction. She's down there. You guys might have heard her shake because she'll make an occasional appearance, as she sometimes will end up barking at, I don't know, the UPS guy or whatever, but yeah, the cat stitch is a great one, Lorraine. I am totally down. And that one looks really good with contrasting colors just like this. So I am totally down, and I will definitely write that down and look it up. And if it's something we can easily fit in, we can definitely do that next week. I love the suggestion. Again, guys, I like making these classes for you guys because I want you guys to enjoy what you learn here. So I'm pretty passionate about that. So definitely speak up. But I'll definitely look at the cat stitch and we'll create some swatches and we'll probably work that in for next week. I think that would be a great one. And lastly, guys, you have the crochet tool in the description. If you guys are still looking for hooks, needles, and all that, I put links to that in the description. And I've already talked to you guys about pattern testers, so if that is you and you are interested, reach out to me. I would like to get it tested within the next month. And so you've got some time. It does need about 800 to 900 yards, something like that, maybe as low as 700 yards, but if that's all you have, you might be playing a game of yarn chicken. But I think about 800 yards and you should be good. And then lastly, if you guys have stuck with me this far, don't forget, I have my Etsy shop. I sell all my patterns as well as my products on Etsy, and you guys all get the discount code. So Get Hooked is the discount code. That will save you 10% on anything on my Etsy shop. Get Hooked, one word, 10% off. That is yours. Aside from that, that's cute. Thank you, May. How are you? Glad to have you. Aside from that, guys, class is kind of over. I am just enjoying crocheting, to be honest with you, but I'm going to get this yarn untangled that I had a fiasco with, and then we're going to start planning for next week's class, and it sounds like the request for the cat stitch might be what we play around with. So if you guys haven't already subscribed, definitely like this, subscribe, it helps me. And I want to keep teaching live, so I'm going to be going live again next Thursday, 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, because I am in California. And if you guys haven't already, like, hit the bell and done all that stuff, now is your time. Otherwise, keep stitching. Definitely, guys, throw it in the chat. Let me know how you guys liked this. Definitely wish each other happy stitching. I love you guys all for joining. It is so awesome being able to do this, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Any last minute questions out there? I will stick around for another minute or two. Maybe I'll finish this row. And then I will see you next week. I think I have like another random project that I was going to try to do a fox. I have no idea. I have so many unfinished projects in my room right now. My husband is probably going to kill me. Bye, May. Thanks for stopping by. It was such a pleasure. All right, guys. Happy stitching. We are at the end, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys. Take care.